Hey guys, this is Scott. I'm coming to you today with a new video blog. And this video blog I'm going to be talking to you about a place called Younder. This is a sermon that I was able to preach a few weeks ago, and I thought I would share some high points with you today. So I brought my notes and I'm ready to share this with you. It's out of Genesis chapter 22 verses 3 through 5, and I'll read this to you real quick. It says, "So Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took two of his young men with him and Isaac his son, and he split the wood for the burnt offering and rose and went to a place of which God had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said to his young men, 'Stay here with the donkey. The lad and I will go yonder and worship, and we will come back to you.'" Now, this is the first time the word worship is used in the Bible in this particular text. And when God uses a word for the first time, he usually gives us an example so that we know exactly what the word means and is, used for. And see, God spoke to Abraham to take Isaac to the top of Mount Moriah and to offer him as a sacrifice unto God. And what a challenge. Picture this, what a challenge to Abraham's faith it must have been to have surrendered his son to God's commands. This trial, though, of Abraham's faith became a beautiful picture, a beautiful lesson of what worship should be. See, Abraham in this verses told the two young men to stay behind while him and the lad went yonder and worshiped. See, at the time Abraham was speaking of a specific geographical location, but I truly believe that he was also speaking of a higher spiritual location that he had never been before. See, there is a place called Yonder where most of us have never been. We've been to where our traditions have allowed us to go, but never to a place called Yonder. I mean, we've been to where our friends have felt comfortable, but never to a place called Younder. I mean, we've also been to where the latest spiritual fads have led us or told us to go, but we've never been to a place called Yonder. We have even been to where the Christian television and church magazines have promoted as the latest revival hotspots, but we have never been to a place called Younder. Now, there is a place beyond the natural boundaries of flesh and human experience where a person worships in spirit and in truth. At that place, the presence of God becomes known and the needs of men are met. See, Abraham and Isaac got to that place when they done three specific things. The first one is when it came time to worship, he took only, listen, only the things that he needed to worship. In Genesis 22:6, it said he took the wood, he took Isaac, he took the fire, and he took a knife. Only those things that he needed. Now, here's a real important thing. All excess baggage he left back at the camp. See, all we need to worship God is a clean, loving, and adoring heart. A heart full of love for God. I mean, these things are important to us. Now, there's some things in our lives that are excess baggage, too, that we need to leave back at camp. When it comes time to worship, ego is excess baggage. Pride is excess baggage. And a lot of times in churches, there's another real important thing that is excess baggage. Hurt feelings. Hurt feelings are excess baggage and need to be left back at camp. Now the second thing, when it came time to worship, Abraham had time. Genesis 24 or Genesis 22 verse 4, it says, then on the third day Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place afar off. This very verse indicates that it took him 3 days just to get where he could see where God wanted him to go. See, a lot of times what we call worship is nothing but a foothill experience. More than once, we come into worship and God just gets us to where He wants us to be, to where we can see where He wants us to go, and we're ready to go home. When we enter worship, we should enter worship with our time solely dedicated to God. Now here's the third thing. When it came time to worship, Abraham separated himself from those who just came along for the ride. That is so important. So many times there are people that show up at church just to be seen or just coming along for the ride. Abraham told his 2 young men to stay back with the donkey. See, these guys never came to worship. They just came along to maintain the donkeys. This was something that God showed me, and I got a real kick out of this, is that there's 2 kinds of people. They are worshipers, and then there are donkey maintainers. Which one are you? Think about it. When you're a donkey maintainer, you're all the time cleaning up somebody's mess. But I don't want us to be stuck in the foothills. I don't want us to be stuck in just a foothill experience when there's so many Isaacs out there waiting to be led to the mountaintop experience of what worship really should be. See, God has called us to this place called Yonder, a place where we can worship God in spirit, in truth. I wanted to bring this to you today because it is a very thought-provoking lesson of what God wants us to do and how He wants us to act when we enter into worship. So this is Scott again coming to you with this video blog saying God bless you and have an awesome day.